Hello everybody and welcome to Wednesday worship. It's really good to have you joining us again. I hope you're enjoying these midweek kind of boosts to keep us all going through these weeks. I don't know about you, but I wonder if you've hit a point yet where your kind of anxiety has peaked a little bit, where you've just felt, I don't know if I can keep going, or you just felt, I've had enough now. I know I did probably towards the end of last week, where I just thought enough's enough. It's been, it's been an adventure, but I want to get back to normal now. And it's really hard, isn't it? And I'm sure many of you have had that moment where you just needed a bit of a kind of push to go again. I think that's normal and nothing for us to be worried about. I mean, everything around us has changed, doesn't it? So we're all trying to adjust and realise that this isn't a short-term thing that we're getting used to. I wonder what's been keeping you going though. What was it that gave you another push, that lifted you, that encouraged you to keep going during these times? I think for me, one of the things that I've kind of held on to is a couple of women from our old church that I remember. One was part of our toddler group and as a helper, and she developed cancer and was told that she didn't have long left to live. When someone went to speak to her about it and asked how she was doing, she said, "I'm okay." She said, "I've got the big C living inside me." And she didn't mean cancer, she meant Christ. She had such a peace about this news that she'd been given. And it really spoke to the rest of us about our faith and our relationship with God and the peace we can have too. There was another lady who had cancer for many, many years, and it was an ongoing battle. And every time she went in to have her latest chemotherapy, she would be there on the ward, and rather than lying in the bed, she would be up and out talking to all the others on the ward about Christ and about the church that she attended. An amazing witness in the midst of really difficult situation. Both of those ladies died quite a few years ago now, but both were a huge encouragement and a huge example to us of that peace that we can have and how God can still use us through really difficult times. We've all had to adjust and let go of many things, haven't we? And that's really hard for us to do. Really hard for us to change all of our routines and everything. And it got me thinking that, sometimes we have to do that with God, don't we? We have to let go of things so that God can work. So I want to encourage you this morning just to keep going, keep seeking that peace that God has for us. Keep going deeper into that, and don't worry about those things we've had to let go of. Try and take on new things that encourage us in our walk with God. We're coming up to around 40 days since it was announced that public worship was to close, and 40 days is a very significant number, isn't it? Not just in Christianity, but in other religions, and also in terms of working out new patterns of how to change habits as well. In psychology and physiology, there's all sorts of thoughts of this 40 days being a really important number. So how can we during this time, what patterns have we picked up? What is helping us to keep going? What are you learning about your spirituality, your walk with God? Why don't you just send in some of the things that are encouraging you? I mean, one of the wonderful things about the church is this huge breadth of different traditions and styles and worships, absolutely massive. And there's this whole range of things that we can be drawing upon during these times. So what is it that is particularly helping you? Send those in so we can share those with others as well. I do think though at this time we need to really be thinking about what is God saying to us. As I say, we've all had to let go of a lot of things through this process. And we're hearing in our daily news briefings from the government that we shouldn't be expecting life to just suddenly return back to how it was before, that we're going to have to adjust to a new normal. Well, what is the new normal for church? Are we just assuming we will go straight back and life will just continue for church how it was before? What is it we're going to have to learn to let go of longer term? When we are allowed back together again, what does church look like? What is it God is saying to us through this process? What lessons have we learned? What is truly important? So I want to encourage you all just to be thinking about that, thinking about what do we need to let go of longer term? What does church look like as we start to come out of this pandemic, as the lockdown begins to ease? What does church look like then? To give us a bit of thinking time, we're going to listen now to our first song, which I recorded with our organist before the lockdown. It's From Heaven You Came, Helpless Babe. And it just reminds us of what God let go of and sacrificed for us. After that, Elliot's going to come and share some more stories of hope with us. So stay safe, everybody.
From heaven you came, helpless babe, entered our world, your glory veiled, not to be served but to serve, and gave your life that we might live. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. There in the garden of tears, my heavy load He chose to bear. His heart with sorrow was torn, yet not my will but yours, He said. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. Come see His hands and His feet, the scars that speak of sacrifice, hands that flung stars into space, to cruel nails surrendered. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. So let us learn how to serve, and in our lives enthrone Him, each other's needs to prefer. For it is Christ we're serving. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant servant king.
What a beautiful song. Jesus is our servant king, whose life on earth was just full of helping people in practical ways. And in the same way, a lot of good news stories are actually just simply local people and organisations just really stepping out to help people. The way everyone has pulled together is so inspiring and has shown how the idea of community, as a bit like an extended family, is not dead in our nation. For instance, the upcoming engineering university, NMITE, has converted their admin offices at Gardner Hall, Hereford, into a makeshift factory. They're fulfilling an order from the NHS of 1,000 head shields. As of the 21st of April, 500 and more have been produced, and over 300 actually distributed. They are also working on collating and pooling resources among different organisations to distribute other PPE, as well as offering their own accommodation for key workers. We love that you're doing this, NMITE, and that is absolutely amazing use of your resources and your expertise. This time is also bringing out such creativity. I actually have 2 rainbow-coloured soaps made by my amazing wife Nomi, which she designed to send out to 2 of her friends who work in the NHS. I think they're amazing. Why don't you send us pictures of what you've been making? In addition, the Helping Hereford Through Covid-19 group has been baking scones and amazing cakes in huge quantities to give to key workers and raise money in support of those most in need. Speaking of the NHS, Caroline, the Hereford nurse who had coronavirus, is now going home. What an answer to our prayers. And I love this incredibly moving video of staff that has been shared clapping her as she goes out of hospital. What joy, and a glimpse of the end of all this. I love how even the worst situations bring out celebration and joy in people that actually the rest of the time are often hidden. We've also loved hearing from people calling in from all over the place, including Joanna and David from Brecon, who got in touch with a wonderful message to say that they felt so encompassed by God in the service online, which was so encouraging and why we're doing it. Also, we have a shout out from one of our congregation members, Ruth, who got a letter from Gil Joy, who wants to pass on her love and greetings to all her friends in SPSJ, especially at the moment. And Ruth and Don, thank you so much for these wonderful tulips that you sent us. So colourful, and rainbows just seem so suitable. And nationally speaking, we just had to mention the story of Captain Tom Moore, a World War II veteran from Yorkshire. He had this dream of raising £1,000 before his 100th birthday by walking 125-metre laps of his garden with the help of a walker, 10 laps a day. He achieved his goal of £1,000 by the 10th of April. But then his campaign exploded. To date, he has raised over 29 million and counting, over 5 times more than has ever been raised by a Just Giving campaign. He now even has the Guinness World Record for the most money ever raised by a charity walk. The donations go to supporting NHS staff and volunteers caring for COVID-19 patients. He says, to quote, "We're a little bit like having a war at the moment, but the doctors and the nurses, they're all on the front line. And all of us behind, we've got to supply them and keep them going with everything that they need." He featured in a cover version of the song You'll Never Walk Alone, which made #1, and that makes him the oldest act to ever receive a number 1, another world record. Royal Mail have even created a special postmark for him. So, his walk was successfully completed on 16th of April, celebrated by a Guard of Honour from the 1st Battalion of the Yorkshire Regiment, and his birthday is Thursday, tomorrow. West Midlands Police have even named their latest police dog, Captain Tom Moore, after him.
An absolutely overwhelming majority winner, and of course that was the name suggestion for Captain Tom Moore.
And finally, one last story, this one from Switzerland. In a stunning display, they've been projecting international flags onto the Matterhorn, including the Union Jack. I just had to share this picture, it's absolutely beautiful. Yes, so thank you so much to everyone for joining us and sending us in good news stories. We really want more, even more from next week, so please just email them to me. But until then, join us on Saturday at 9 AM for SPSJ Kids. You're welcome to join any age. And join us for our main Sunday service online at 9:30 AM. And to finish and to leave you this morning, we have a beautiful song so relevant at the moment when everything we know is falling. And speaking from personal experience, it can be so easy to get downtrodden. If you dread each coming day at the moment, this song is for you. Prayer is not meant to be a chore. I used to think it was a chore. God doesn't want this. He's not honoured by people feeling forced to pray. It is meant to be the greatest joy and wonder, spending time in true friendship with Jesus. So here is what a friend we have in Jesus. A wonderful expression of the freedom that we can find in taking our every fear, our need, our longing, desperation, our downtroddenness to the God who hears us and carries us in prayer.
To God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. To